Hey climbers, Brent here. Are you ready to write your best songs ever? Are you ready to take that next step in your songwriting journey? Well, I want to help you with that. Listening to the C.L.I.M.B podcast is a great way to get started on your songwriting journey and to learn the basics about the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. But eventually, you're probably going to need the personal touch. You're probably going to need some one-on-one feedback, some advice, and some help reaching your songwriting goals. And that's what I want to help do for you. I want to help you write your best songs ever. And I want to help you learn the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting, of how to turn pro in your mind and in your behavior before you ever turn pro on paper. Before you ever have the awards to hang on the wall, I want to give you the mindsets and the skills to earn that stuff. And so we'll dive into your questions and I'll give you honest answers. And I can help repair your song if it's already written but has a couple bugs and has some opportunities to get better. Or we can help prepare your song if you have an idea, a notion, a title. We can do your own private song title challenge if you want. If you want to get ready for a co-write, if you have a meeting coming up and you want to get your stuff locked down where it's the best it can be, I'm happy to help you do that as well. You can see my calendar, get all the details, and actually book a session at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. Now, if you're still not sure if a coaching session with me is the right thing for you, let's listen to what this climber had to say about their session.
The first time I met with Brent was an hour session, face-to-face on Skype. I was pretty excited to have the opportunity for some back and forth discussion about my songs, because up until then I had been pressing send on the computer and waiting for days for a written general critique. With the written critiques, I was finding that sometimes I was left trying to interpret them on my own and then comb through what I know to fix what I thought they were getting at. But Brent provided real-time interactive feedback based on a solid and deliberate method. It didn't feel random and definitely didn't feel like judgment. In the end, I went away with solution-based critique that made perfect sense to me. I remember being a little worried about wasting time in my session trying to think of every question that I might have so that I could make the very most of it. But once he dove in, and it's kind of a magical thing to witness, his brain just turns and churns until every nook and cranny of that song has been considered, and I just wasn't left with many questions at all. The best thing after my session was just being able to see a clear path ahead and feeling also like my own brain is clicking a whole bunch faster after trying to keep up with his crazy acrobatic ninja fighter type brain. So I highly recommend sessions with Brent.
All right, welcome to another Song Title Challenge where the question is, songwriters, how would you write this one? In this mini-series, we have climbers send in their song titles to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular, there is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. They put Song Title Challenge in the subject line. You can send in as many song titles as you want. I pick one randomly. I spring them to Brent live on this podcast while we're recording it. And we spend the next 15 minutes mimicking what happens on Music Row in a professional songwrite, and not just Music Row, and where it should happen everywhere. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to find 4 or 5 different conceptual approaches on which way to take the lyrics. So we're not just putting pen to paper on the lyrics, we're trying to figure out what the song's about. Have we taken this title and put in the most clever spin on it, right? This is not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. This is a fun, creative exercise that you can see us doing over and over again. And our hope is that it will encourage you to flex that muscle and strengthen that muscle, because it is just a process. It's a way of thinking. It's a muscle that you use that can get better. And even Brent, you've admitted, right? Like, since we've been doing this, you've gone over some old titles that maybe are in your hookbook that might have been dead to the world and all of a sudden breathe some new life into them through this creative exercise.
Heck yeah. Using myself. Self. Not only am I a member, I'm the client.
Also a client.
I don't know, whatever that phrase is. Yes, I also do this.
And they turned into,
yes, exactly. They turned into co-writes. And so it's something I'm using on a weekly basis, hopefully daily. Oh my good days.
All right. So let's get right down to it here. Are you ready, sir?
Never, but it's never stopped us.
Okay. And by the way, again, not a co-write, but the only thing you do owe us is we get an invite to the number 1 party. So
Yes.
And of course, you can use whatever you want. You can use nothing. It's entirely up to you. We're just trying to give you some different looks at it. So this is from a climber named Marla. I don't have her last name, just her first name, Marla.
Hey, Marla.
Song title is Break Me Better. Break Me Better.
That's an interesting title. Okay, so first of all, you're winning before you're spinning, Marla, because I automatically want to know what that's about. Unfortunately, here I have to come up with it. But if I saw that on a CD, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. I like the alliteration. And
certainly a publisher is going to be like, whoa, let's see what this is.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what that's about. So I think it's a cool title. Now we got to make it make sense. So, all right, Break Me Better. One thing I think is looking how sometimes you got to get broken to get better, right? Mm-hmm. So things, breaking bad habits or just kind of broken as a person to kind of get rebuilt. And so it could be about how life will break you, but it'll, sometimes life breaks me, but it'll always break me better.
What didn't
kill you make you stronger? Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. So you could do that kind of philosophical kind of thing. Could be
how some of that you could go and talk about, like how I've said this a lot, like from that sort of philosophical viewpoint of, I feel like everybody needs a couple toxic relationships on their path to happiness, right? Because you learn about yourself, right? You learn about what you thought you really wanted. And then you discover like, oh, this is exactly what I don't want. I thought I wanted this. Like, this is a cool, shiny new thing. And I was like, oh yeah. And then you're like, no, that's totally doesn't work with me. And you learn about that. And the more you learn about yourself, I feel like the stronger relationship you can have with somebody else.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
So, yep. So it could be about that, how life can break me better. It could be like a religious song, a CCM song or something like that about God. Sometimes you got to break my will, my pride, my whatever. When you break me better. Almost sounds like Make Me Better.
Yeah.
Just got a little bit of that baked into it.
Yeah. I need to think better. Yeah.
You remake me, and you break me better. So
God, please break me better.
Break me better. Come on.
How about from the perspective in the midst? It could still be positive, but in the depths of despair, right? Like, hear me out on this. Like, you're in the middle of a crisis. You just, a relationship just ended. You just lost somebody. Something just significant just happened, and you're looking to God. And this doesn't even have to be like a CCM thing. It could still be countries, and just be like, I hope this breaks me better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe not in the context of losing somebody, but in the context like a death, but in the context of like a relationship,
a breakup or something, or some challenge.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And it could be definitely like, a male spin, like from that would appeal to a young country artist, because it's like, I'm trying to be a better man.
Right. Yeah.
That's solid. Yeah.
Break Me Better. So it's a cool title. What else could we do with it?
How about like breaking a Mustang? I'm thinking of Chelsea right now. Brakes.
Horses. A horse. I was thinking a car. I was like hitting the brakes on a car. Yeah. I mean, because a lot of that could almost, I don't know if you want to do, it depends on how you serve it up. You may not want to do the 3-act play, but you may do like that football coach that was hell in the summer and 2-a-days and all this stuff. Man, he knew how to break me. He knew how to break me better. Make me better. And like someone breaking a horse.
Yeah. You can spin that into like a military thing. I mean, that's definitely what
military
training is about. We're going to break you better.
We're going to break you better than you were. Exactly. And then
that sounds like something that a drill sergeant would say. We are going to break you. We will break you, but we will break you better.
Exactly.
You got to give me 20.
It could be that. It could be, your hard case old man, Johnny, who, the Marine breaks you better. Even if you don't go in the military, if your dad was, it could be that kind of stuff. And then maybe you bring it around to a love thing going, and you walking out that door, whew, man, that shook me. That broke me, but you're going to break me better. Like, I can tell. It could be that kind of thing where we've hit this thing in our relationship that's going to, like, I'm in danger of losing you. That's kind of breaking me better. So you could go there maybe as well.
I know for me, it took me like forever. I think you're just a lot more amenable to being in a relationship with people. Like, you just came in with the right playbook that I didn't get that playbook or something. You know what I mean? And it took a whole lot of bust ups for me to just finally settle down and realize like, okay, like what I got going on right now. I'm just like, I'm appreciative of all these like little things that I missed before.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could be something in there. I don't know how you
like
could
because
wordsmith that in, but
past hurts and that sort of thing. You just appreciate the little things. Like,
oh yeah. Like, so you're awake to them. You're woke now. Where before I was like a bull in a china shop, just straight up. I mean, it was bad enough I was a male. It was bad enough I was a Midwestern male with sisters that were 4 years younger than me and a father that didn't have any sisters. I got no tools in that toolbox on how to deal with women. And, put me as a front man in a hairband for 7 years. And this is a recipe for disaster.
That's a cocktail, but it's a Molotov. Yeah.
Woo, yeah, it's explosive, Finally, all of a sudden, but I find myself laughing at certain situations where I know that just happened, something just happened, and I'm like, that would have been a fireable offense 15 years ago, you know? And now I think it's adorable.
Yeah.
Broke, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like it's,
that
maybe that's
there's
too
a way
deep.
to get around to that. That may just be, I'm
Maybe
trying
just
to
be
do
blabbering on it.
logistics in my mind on that. Because all the past tense versus now, everything that broke me just served to break me better. I like kind of the blue collar male thing about all the stuff that broke me just broke me better. I think that's cool. And then you can go to the God thing too, as part of it, like just almost an Eric Churchy kind of, almost a laundry list kind of thing, not really a big series of vignettes.
Mm-hmm.
That football coach that was hell in August, and that fire and brimstone preacher in the pulpit, and my dad with his boot up my backside, all this stuff. Yeah. Life used to break me, but it break me better.
Yeah.
Better than I was, whatever, growing me up, kicking my butt, all this stuff.
I mean, like, so I remember we had Barbara on the podcast, my manager, from when I was an artist. One of the things she likes to talk about, she was when she was growing up, a trust fund baby. Okay. Her daddy was loaded.
Yeah.
Okay. But the second that, and she loves to call herself the princess. She's a Jewish American princess, that's, so she calls herself that. Right.
Yeah.
But the second that she told her parents that she was going to go into the music business, they cut her off.
Yeah.
And she goes, it freaked me out, but she goes, looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I learned to fend for myself. And I don't know if it gets too deep in there, but like, her sister didn't have that. Her sister did what mommy and daddy wanted her to do. And so like mommy died a long time ago, but in the last 5 years, like her dad died. And so then there's a fight between her and her sister over money, and she's like, I'm not going to fight you. She has her own money. Yeah. Barbara's got her own money. She's made a name for her damn self and didn't need that. And her sister just got so evil. And she was like, this is so gross, Yeah. I can't believe this is what's happened. But so she was broken better.
By being broke.
By being broke. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something you'd have to think about. That is there a way to kind of get that thought?
Oh, how about that with like the money thing, like a start over or something? Like I'm broke.
Right.
It's going to break me better.
Yeah. I think you can do that. And it's like being broke just helped to break me better.
What if it's a question instead of a statement?
What is that?
Will this break me better? Will you break me better? I'm broke. Will this break me better?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I wonder, because I keep coming back to like break you better, thinking, it's going to break you or break you better. That question, like to the listener, you got this and you got that. Is that going to break you or is that going to break you better? Which changes up the hook that we're working at.
But but it still totally works with the exact title that Marla gave us.
Yeah, if you ask yourself this.
And that's actually cool. Yeah. Is it going to break me or will it break me better?
Right.
A challenge, right?
Like if it's for someone else to cut, you just got to be careful on like how much backstory and specificity and that kind of stuff that you give it.
Well, if you make it common, if you make it more universal in the subject matter, I think you'd be okay, don't you?
I think it's just a lot of how you serve it up, which is devil's in the details. And I know we're looking bigger picture. So, but that could also go into that kind of the listy thing of the football coach, the preacher, the dad, the whatever, the financial thing, life circumstances. Yeah. You'd roll that into all that. And so there are a lot of kind of different handles people can.
Yeah, that they can grab on. I mean, remember like a few episodes ago, or if it was I think it was the episode that just dropped, I was talking about the radio show. And the first 3 weeks for that mortgage show, 0 phone calls, and I'm like, this is going to break me. And then it broke me better because I did 2 tweaks to it, and all of a sudden we're off, skyrocketing. Yeah. So those moments, right? Those moments where you're looking into the abyss, and there's where you find your character.
There's another angle I want to get to too before we run out of time is you think heartbreak. Okay. A couple ways for a heart to break. So I'm trying to think of it in the context of that. Is it the heart talking, going, gosh, girl, if it's a female thing, I wish you'd break me better. Like, there's so many ways for you to break me, the good kind and the bad kind. Like, you can almost break your heart with something that's so sweet and something so good. And then there's the bad kind of heartbreak. And say, hey, instead of finding somebody that mistreats you and breaks me, why don't we find somebody that's so sweet that breaks me better?
That's the setup. That's brilliant right there. Sort of There's a lot of different ways that a heart can break.
Yeah.
And think about different. So like, what was the one band that's like, when hearts break, they don't break even? I mean, you can, so you could even kind of go that road. Like, you can talk about specifically like different, like good ways the heart can break, bad ways the heart can break, the fact that the heart don't break even, but can you break me better?
Yeah.
Maybe I just set that up in the lyrically, that could be interesting. But I just thought it was cool. There's a lot of different ways for a heart to break.
Yeah.
Can you break me better?
So it could be sung from the heart's point of view, talking to the owner of the heart, the person, going, hey, why don't you find somebody that's going to break me better? Because everything's going to break me, Or singing to that person that did break your heart and you're like, I thought you'd break me better. It's like almost like I'm just playing with it going, what could that mean? Like, I expected you to break me better. A major
disappointment?
Yeah.
Like the stupidest way to break me,
Yeah. Like, I thought.
Insignificant.
Yeah. You're breaking my heart, but it's not like I thought it would be. Like, I thought, you'd be the one that I would love and blah, blah, blah. Then we'd have some beautiful, amazing, tragic story. But then it turned out you're just a jerk that cheated on me. Thought you'd break me better. Well. So you're not as broken.
Dude, I like that, dude. That's really good. That's really good.
Break me better. Next time I'm gonna.
Marley, you better write this fast because I feel like a lot of people are gonna want to write this.
It's a good title. It's a good title. Don't scare off other people though.
Yeah.
From sending in their titles. That's a few ways to do it. Break me better. I'm trying to think of what else can break. It's a $20 bill. You break a 20.
Oh yeah, break a hundy. Right?
Break a Benji. Break
your will, burst your bubble,
break your silence,
break your silence, break your breaker.
No, break your breaker.
Oh, breaker 19.
You're right. Break me better.
Break a habit.
Yeah.
That could be interesting because think about, I'm going rock and roll here, but I think about Master of Puppets from Metallica.
Okay.
Which lyrically was written from the point of view of cocaine.
Okay.
Right? More is all you need. I am all you need. More is what you'll see. Like chop your breakfast on a mirror. Like it's all about cocaine talking to the person. So that could be interesting like that. Alcohol. Whiskey. I learned to break me better from a recovering addict or a recovering alcoholic, or there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah. What about somebody that has been in a relationship and ended in a heartbreak, and then you just took a break? Like, I needed some time to not jump into the next thing.
I did it
to break me better.
Took 18 months off.
There you go. And like the heartbreak ultimately made you better, but then also taking that break so you could break me, so I could break me better. Like, I could hit pause, hit reset, do some work on me.
Yeah. That
could be a thing too. Or, you know what? Like, he thought he was breaking me, but all he did was break me better. Maybe it's the guy that thought I learned from that crappy relationship and from that jerk.
Yeah. More about yourself, maybe.
Well, kind of like what you're talking about, the toxic relationship. Like, I learned what I don't want, and I'm wiser. I'm not going to fall for that stuff again.
You thought you broke me.
Yeah, he might have thought he broke whatever. If you were looking at it, you might have thought he broke me, but nah, he just broke me better. So I don't put up with that crap anymore. I'm not broken.
Yeah, yeah.
My heart was broken. Yeah, but it broke me better.
How about from the perspective of we're all broken, and that's what like lets in the light.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go that route too. And that could be part of that. If you go back to the religious thing, or just life will break you, and it breaks you better because it breaks you open.
Or like, there's that Will Smith video that I just absolutely fell in love with, like one of his positivity things online. That's like really good. And he just had that whole, he's talking to the brokenhearted people out there, people that have been broke. That somebody got to them, like they were raped, if they were hurt, if they were abused, if they were this. He's like, remember, I think we did a podcast on it. It wasn't your fault that happened to you, but it's your heart that was broken. And so it's your responsibility to put it back together and to be happy. You can't just go through life miserable and putting the blame on something or someone else, some event or some person. Or
that is the interesting thing about, the pieces of your heart, the way you put them back together can be better than it was ever. Life may break you, but it can break you better.
Oh, that just happened. That just happened. Drop the mic.
Yeah. So your heart is into pieces, and you put it back together in a way that is better than it was. So then in a way you're broken better. Yeah. But you have to, it's what you do with it. So we're about 20 or so minutes in, so we should probably wrap it up. But Marla, thank you for sharing this with us. Hopefully this was helpful and gave you and the rest of the climbers out there some stuff to chew on. But hey, if you're interested in following up with me on this idea or another idea, or any of you climbers I do private consulting. We can prepare your song. We can repair your song. I'm happy to answer your questions about the art, the craft, the business of music. Get the details, see my calendar, and book an appointment at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. I love geeking out about songwriting, and I would love to help you on your journey.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, this podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.